And a happy Monday, television family. It is the first day of another work week, but it's right smack dab in the middle of the month. It's payday, too. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with my $47.19. I just haven't got a clue. Probably paint the town red tonight. 74 degrees. Guess what? It's going to be a warm week. It's going to be a hot week. The hits just keep on coming. In fact, today is going to be the coolest day of the week. Not quite to 100. We hit 100 right on the button on Saturday. We hit 100 right on the button on Sunday. We're not going to get to 100 today, more like 98. Much more comfortable. There is the slightest chance of some dry thunderstorms. Now, they're not real confident about this, but they're talking about the middle of the week as a shortwave kind of bumps in. They're going to keep an eye on things. Right now, they say we probably won't going to get one, and we don't want that right now. No, thank you. Thunderstorms are all well and good if they come with torrential rains, but not if it's dry thunderstorms. All that does is start fires. Forecast details are coming up. We have a lot of news to touch on. Sports, of course, it's baseball time. Mariners won 3 in a row. Now they've lost 3 in a row. Their All-Star break is upon us, just in the nick of time. Highlights from a rather disappointing 3-2 loss to the Angels. We'll come to that yesterday. And you know what? We'll come to that in a few minutes. And you know you're playing a blowout game in a non-leaguer for the Apple Sox when the coach played. Yeah, Mitch Darlington actually put himself into the lineup for the Apple Sox. They demolished the Cascade Collegiate team yesterday. We'll talk about that in sports. And speaking of sports, the Wenatchee Wild have a new coach. This guy has a very impressive resume. His name is Don Nachbauer, and our good buddy Eric Granstrom, our sports director, spoke with the new head coach, Mr. Nachbauer, via Zoom. On Friday, we will have that interview for you. We're looking forward to Coach Dan coming into town and leading the Wild to season number 2 in the WHL. All right, 2 minutes after the hour, we begin our tour around the Wenatchee Valley. And of course, the Wenatchee Heights camera begins our festivities. If you look to the north, up to where the Pioneer Fire is burning, very remotely and very rugged terrain, you'll see the skies are a little dirty. And we're going to give you another angle of that as we get up to Chelan. Right now, the dirtiest area is in Brewster. You're at 97. That's right at the very top of the moderate scale. If it gets to 101, that becomes unhealthy for sensitive groups. This is something we get sick and tired of talking about, but we need to talk about it. In fact, let's go up to Lake Chelan with our Lower Butte camera. As you can see, it looks a little dirty up there, and it is a little dirty. The air quality in Chelan proper is 89. That is high up on the moderate scale. Again, once it gets to 101, it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. All of this from the Pioneer Fire burning about 30 miles upshore from Chelan proper, and it continues to burn. The Billy Goat camera, you're going to see some fairly dirty air up there. Now, this is the camera that we would normally have pointed right down the Columbia River. You could see the Medhow, you'd be able to see Pateros and Brewster and what have you, but we have it pointed to the east a little bit more, so that is up on the Waterville Plateau, so to speak. Can't quite see the Columbia River. And it is Brewster right now that has the dirtiest air, 97 on the AQI scale. And finally, to Orondo Rock. So we're now down below the smoke line, and things look pretty good there. Just a little bit of haze above the Wenatchee Valley. There's Lake Aniat, Turtle Rock, and way off into the distance, Mission Ridge. 2 slides that the National Weather Service sent our way that we're sending your way. Here we go again. Take a look at where you plan on being or where you're going to be this week. For the record, again, 100 yesterday, 100 on Saturday. Our high temperatures the last 10 days goes as follows: 100, 98, 98, 103, 104, 105, 96, 98, 100, 100. We're going to be about 98 or 99 today, back up to the triple digits on Tuesday. And as I mentioned before, dry thunderstorms. They're keeping a close eye on it. Right now, they say their confidence is real high, but the National Weather Service says they're going to keep an eye on this system and how it progresses, because we're under the influence of another ridge of high pressure that's building up as we speak. So there could be a short wave sliding through late Tuesday into Wednesday, which could bring us some dry thunderstorms on Wednesday all over eastern Washington. Again, they're not real confident that this is going to happen. We'll know a lot more about this come tomorrow. From the National Weather Service, that way if you don't like the weather, you can blame the government. 99 today, sunny and hot. Clear tonight, 68 for the overnight low. Little wind tonight, not much, but a little. We're looking at 102 for the forecast high on Tuesday. Clouds thickening up Tuesday night. Wednesday, mostly sunny and hot, but again, there's about a 20% chance of a dry thunderstorm on Wednesday afternoon. We will keep a close eye on that. Hopefully it stays at 20 or goes even less than that. We don't need dry thunderstorms right now. Thursday 101, Friday 101, Saturday 104, Sunday 102. This has been one very hot July, and there is no relief in sight. No rain at all. We enter a drought. We need the wet stuff. Ain't going to happen. Going to take a break. What is going to happen is the news. In 2 minutes, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel. The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
As sheriff, I arrested rioters, rapists, and mass murderers, locked up human traffickers who preyed on women and children. On my watch, everyone was accountable. Despite being the Attorney General for 12 years, Bob Ferguson does not take responsibility for the rapid increase in crime and homelessness, businesses moving out of state, and jobs lost. And he thinks he deserves a promotion?
Dave Reichert.
Caught in a conflict? Family? Workplace? Neighbor? Business? Housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
73 degrees, a little hazy. It's hazier still up in the Chelan area. You probably know that by now. Just not quite to 100 degrees today, and then triple digits, lower 100s, right through the rest of the week. It's 8 minutes after the hour. A 2-car head-on accident Saturday afternoon on State Route 97 has claimed the life of a Bonnie Lake man and sent 2 others to the hospital, according to the Washington State Patrol. At around 4:40 p.m., 20-year-old Hayden J. Fisher was driving a 2006 Toyota Tacoma southbound 4 miles north of Orondo when his pickup crossed the center line and collided with a 2014 Subaru Forester being driven by 32-year-old Ethan J. Lockwood of Wenatchee. The Tacoma became engulfed in fire and Fisher was pronounced dead at the scene. Lockwood and his passenger, 19-year-old Augustus C. Ugalarida of Spokane, were transferred to Central Washington Hospital with undisclosed injuries. The cause of that fatal accident is under investigation. A Wenatchee man is pleading guilty to a fentanyl case that began with a woman's death. 43-year-old Jeremy Bolerjack entered a plea Wednesday in Chelan County Superior Court to 2 counts of conspiracy to deliver narcotics. Wenatchee police began investigating Bolerjack after the January death of a woman at the YWCA shelter where fentanyl was found near her body. Bolerjack admitted providing fentanyl to the woman, although he was not charged with causing her death. Judge Kristen Ferreira ordered Bolerjack to undergo an assessment to determine if he can be sentenced to drug rehabilitation. That will happen later this month. The Chelan Douglas Homeless Housing Network now has an office at Link Transit's Columbia Station in Wenatchee. The network operates the Coordinated Entry Program. That's the entry point to housing services for people experiencing or about ready to experience homelessness. The Board of Chelan County Commissioners decided to bring the Coordinated Entry Program in-house to provide centralized services, as the program was previously contracted out to 3 different agencies. In a press release, Chelan County Housing Program Manager Sasha Slayman said it was important to bring the coordinated entry near public transportation and offer a walk-up counter. And at Columbia Station, they have both of those. The program is staffed by 3 Chelan County employees who will work to connect people to the services they qualify for in Chelan and Douglas counties. City of Wenatchee and the cities of East Wenatchee have struck an agreement. They're going to build a pedestrian bridge over the Sunset Highway. The planned overpass will allow walkers and cyclists to cross from Valley Mall Parkway in East Wenatchee to the Apple Capitol Loop Trail without having to wait for car traffic on Highway 28. It's a $17 million project is being funded through a federal infrastructure grant. The interlocal agreement between the two cities was approved by the Wenatchee City Council on Thursday and by the East Wenatchee City Council last week. It puts Wenatchee in charge of managing the project, but ownership of the bridge will transfer to East Wenatchee once it's a done deal. Construction is scheduled to begin spring of next year. The City of Wenatchee has invited local residents to an open house on the Confluence Parkway project, the $134 million venture to create a second bridge across the Wenatchee River and a bypass to the heavy traffic on North Wenatchee Avenue. The event will include a presentation and an update on the design and status of the project. City staff members will also be available to answer your questions. The open house, by the way, tonight from 5 to 7 p.m. at the City Council chambers right across the street at City Hall from us. Saturday was the grand opening of a new boutique store in the Wenatchee Valley, specifically downtown Wenatchee. Curiosity Culture owner Liz Freeman has filled the store to the brim with unique items for shoppers and is officially now opened her doors as of Saturday. Our own Casey Safford caught up with Freeman to hear about the new store and what it has to offer.
The idea for the store is kind of a long story. I remember as a little girl, my father used to call me Machine Gun Lizzie. It was just really strange because I was constantly rearranging stuff, constantly moving pictures, moving furniture, flipping furniture. My parents would be gone, they'd come home, the house was totally different all the time. So it's always been a passion of mine. And I just felt at one point in life, because I've done this before, but just not on the scale, and I thought, you know, I'm going to go and chase that dream, and I'm going to give the Downtown Association and all the wonderful people that are around here just something new and exciting to enjoy.
Great. So why did you choose this space specifically on Wenatchee Ave?
This space actually called to me. Because there were multiple places I could have chosen or been able to have acquired in the downtown area. This is the core of the city, and there's a lot of people that actually spend a lot of times outdoors, shopping, walking, everything. But actually what really got me was the building itself. So the building, if you don't know, is called the Rialto, or was called the Rialto Theater in the 20s. And when I walked in and I saw just the stunning beauty of it and the history of the building, and ironically, the first show that was produced or shown in the theater was called Why Girls Leave Home. And I thought, how funny. They leave home to go shopping, right? And so the whole story just kind of grabbed me together, and I thought, you know, I'm just going to take the vision that I have, and I'm going to take this empty vessel and I'm just going to fill it. And we just took our time and made sure that it was something that I believe that the Wenatchee downtown people, everybody from Moses Lake, everybody that comes into town, is we're going to feel like it's homey and comfortable with a bunch of unique and different items for the store. We have high-end products, lamps, chandeliers, furnitures, homemade goods, homemade soaps. We have a vendor in here that was that relocated from Alaska, and she takes acquires old army tents and turns them into these beautiful bags. She does soaps and purses. Actually, throughout the entire building, there's just so much variety of what's in here. It would take all day. You just have to come in and take a tour, I guess.
All right, so tell us what exciting event is taking place this Saturday.
This Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning, we're going to open our doors to Wenatchee, and we're going to have our grand opening.
What do you think will make Curiosity Couture stand out in comparison to other similar stores here in Wenatchee Ave?
I feel it's all about location. I'm so centrally located into the downtown heart itself, between Pybus, Mountain Chick Floral over here, Woody's across the street. There's so many great vendors right here that there's just a lot of hubbub going on in the city. So I feel it's a great location. And I also feel that the variety of items that we have in the store is new and fresh, and really kind of brings that good vibe energy.
Great. So speaking of other nearby stores, have you been receiving any support from other local business owners during your soft launch and coming up to your grand opening?
Oh yes. I've had a lot of support. Just about everybody that's around here has been like, oh, I can't wait to see it. And I've been so excited that, I've let them in for little sneak peeks and stuff. But at the end of the day, I kind of like, okay, the plastic's still up, so you have to, kind of wait for the surprise. But Mountain Chick Floral over here has been very supportive, as my neighbor, Marcy Collins across the street, Woody's across the street. Everyone's just been so excited to see the downtown come more alive with more retail and more fresh vibe than it has before. And so they just kind of embraced me, and it just helped me and my creativity just bloom.
And finally, on this Monday, if you remember, over the July 4th weekend, we brought you a special newscast featuring Molly Linville. It was a great show. You can see it online, by the way. She runs the KV Ranch. It is 6,000 acres out in the Moses Coulee. Molly has about 300 head of cattle. This week, we're going to take some of the footage that we shot and trim it down a little bit so you can understand what Molly does. This morning, she's going to tell us about how she came to preside over her husband's ancestral ranch land and the hard road it takes for a rancher to make money.
This ranch has been in my husband's family for over 105, 6 years, somewhere in there. My husband's father was running it, and he had kind of always said to us that he wasn't going to leave the ranch to us, and that he was going to donate it to Nature Conservancy. And so, we were fine with that. That was his choice to make. And we were both working for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service at the time. And he got sick, unfortunately, suddenly, and passed away rather quickly. And lo and behold, he had left the whole ranch to us. And so, we both had federal jobs, which means, we had things like health insurance and paid leave and all those kind of things. And we had to decide overnight whether we were going to become cattle ranchers or not. And I was a resounding yes, and my husband was a resounding no, because, he is raised here and he knew how much work this was gonna be. And so when we got here, there was about 120 head of cows and their calves, and his father had been in his 80s and he hadn't had a hired hand for a long time. So there was just a lot of broken infrastructure in place. So we're in the Moses Coulee, which if you haven't been out here, people should come and take an explore. This is the most westerly flood of Lake Missoula. And so we have 800-foot basalt cliffs on either side of us. And it's shrub steppe habitat. We also have 270 acres of irrigated farm ground in the bottom. And that's where our house here is located. The ranch is about 6,000 acres, which is plenty. So my goal is to have about 350 head of other people's cows here during the grazing season. And I've got, what do I have now? Like 280 here right now. So before, my business was a cow-calf operation, meaning I keep the cows through time, and then the calves are the cash crop each year. And it's so frustrating because when you show up to sell them, you're a price taker, you can't set your price. And so like if the market is down for who knows what reason on a particular day, and that's when you bring your calves in, you just have to take it. And that I worked so hard at raising those calves and to, get maybe $1.20 a pound for them. My average day is that there is no average day. I start out with a punch list every morning, and sometimes it gets filled out and completed, and sometimes one item is done and the rest of the day gets wrecked. So you just never know. When we first got here, I felt like I was sort of beholden to dead people. Like I felt like I was ranching for them, and it gets really complicated, you know, sort of mentally and emotionally. And so when I switched to I'm just going to do the best I can, that made things a lot better.
And again, the entire half-hour profile of Molly and her husband aired on Friday, July the 5th. You can check it out by going to our homepage or our YouTube page or any page that we happen to pop up on, which, by the way, is a lot. The news at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock on TV, 5, 6, and 10. If that doesn't fit into your schedule, you can watch the news on the World Wide Web, on our homepage right around 5 o'clock, on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page. We have an app, we have an X, we have an Instagram, we have a toaster. It's that kind of place. And if something out there needs our attention, you get a hold of us. Send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Great Saturday and Sunday for the Apple Sox. Not so much for the Mariners. Sports is in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I moved here 6 years ago. The manager here asked me what I like to do, and I told him that I like to play games, I like to play cards. And he said, "Boy, have I got a woman for you to meet." And he introduced me to her, and we walked down the hall, and I took her hand, and we've never let go of each other.
Life is so good when you're happy, and I'm very happy at Prestige.
When you buy tires at Les Schwab, you're getting more than just tires. You're getting America's best tire warranty, 60-day satisfaction guarantee, no hassle road hazard protection, and free maintenance for the life of your tires. So if something happens to your tire on the road, we'll fix it, or we'll replace it, no questions asked. Other places make you pay extra for that kind of protection, but at Les Schwab, it's included with every set of tires, because more warranty means less worry, and nobody stands by their tires like Les Schwab. Get more from Les.
Apple Valley Honda is bringing the future of driving to you. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue EV. Say goodbye to gas stations and hello to a whisper-quiet ride and zero emissions. The wait is over. Finally, a local option for a quality EV from a brand with a track record of exceptional quality and reliability. Experience the Honda Prologue EV for yourself at family-owned Apple Valley Honda. Stay close to home and visit us at Apple Valley Honda today for the life you live.
At Confluence Health, our mission is clear: to provide exceptional care for our community. We believe in healthcare that's personal and local because we're just like you, members of this great community.
We are Confluence.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
Local care by and for our community.
We are Confluence.
24 minutes after the hour, a sterling outing from our all-star Logan Gilbert went nowhere. It was wasted because Joe Adell hit a 3-run home run in the 8th inning. And the Angels best the Mariners 3-2 in the last game before the All-Star break. The Mariners were held hitless until the 6th inning. In fact, both teams combined for just 7 hits.
Little tapper up the middle. It's grabbed by Hero, off balance, in time to get Polanco.
What a play by Castanheira. The range and how quickly he got rid of that baseball on the transfer. Polanco runs very well into the outfield grass, out of his hand right away, and on the money, just getting him by a half a stride. What a play by Hero on that throw, and the range.
Fly ball, driven deep, right center field, and gone! The Mariners' first hit comes in the 6th inning. It's a leadoff home run by J.P. Crawford. And the Mariners take the lead.
Well, 101 off the the bat for J.P. Crawford.
That slider into a lefty can be a good pitch, but it's dangerous if you don't get it where you want it. It's got to be down enough or in enough, and that one was neither.
Now he takes off for third, and he collides, it looked like, with the glove of Drury. The ball is into left field, and here comes Robles. He scores standing. The Mariners add on in the 7th. They get a break to go their way. 2-0.
We've seen Victor Robles really swing the bat since coming to the Mariners, and now using his speed, he slides into third, and his head hits the glove and knocks it out of the way.
And a breaking ball is hammered out toward left center field. Robles chasing it near the wall. It's gone! Joe Adele serves a 3-run homer, and the Angels go on top here in the bottom of the 8th. What a blast from Joe Adele. Crushed it out to the gap in left center field, got it over the wall, and there was the one big swing after the back-to-back walks to start the inning.
What a swing, Joe Adele.
Fly ball, shallow left center. Zach Neto is calling for it. The Angels win the series against the first place ball club. 3 straight 1-run wins. 3-2 the final today. Joe Adele's big swing in the 8th changed the course.
How impressive is this victory? Logan Gilbert was ridiculous on the mound for Seattle, but a couple walks, and then the best play in baseball, by the way, waiting the 3-run home run by Joe.
So the Mariners are now off until Friday. That's when the Astros visit Seattle for a 3-game series. Of course, it's the All-Star break. The 4-day break means that Mariner manager Scott Servais will be resetting the rotation. Almost all the teams do. Neither team has named a starter for Friday, by the way. Since the All-Star game is tomorrow, Logan Gilbert, although he is an All-Star, will not play. To the American League West scoreboard from Les Schwab, of course, the Mariners lost. The Rangers beat the Astros. The Mariners lead over the Astros at the All-Star break. One tiny little bitty game. That's it. They have a 5-game lead over the world champion Rangers, and the A's just crushed the Phillies. The final was 18-3. The Wenatchee Apple Sox scored in all but 2 innings. They defeated the Cascade Collegiate League Showcase team 21-5 last night at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. Every Apple Sox hitter in the starting lineup recorded at least 1 hit. In fact, head coach Mitch Darlington put himself in the game. I mean, why not? It doesn't count. He pitch hit in the 8th. He struck out, but he did record the game-ending double play in the 9th, playing at shortstop. The assistant coach got to play as well. Have a little fun. Why not? Because now it's the All-Star break for these guys. Wenatchee has the next 4 days off before they open their post-All-Star break series Friday at home against Yakima Valley at 6:35. There will be 5 Apple Sox representing the ball club in Bellingham for the All-Star game on Wednesday. It's Garrett Ahern, Evan Canfield, Jonathan Fitz, Max Hartman, and Quincy Vassar. And finally, the West Coast League scoreboard. Again, Wenatchee's was a non-leaguer, but I threw it up there anyway. Victoria knocked off Edmonton. Bellingham got by Nanaimo. Port Angeles just by a run over Kamloops. A lot of close games. Look at that yesterday. 8-7, 6-4, 7-3. That's some pretty good baseball. And Walla Walla beat Corvallis. We would call that an upset. The final there was 3-1. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this 15th day of July. With all due respect to the dog, always considered man's best friend. Who's kidding who? The most important animal in the development of mankind is the horse. And today is National I Love Horses Day. I used to have horses. I don't anymore. They're a little on the expensive side, but boy, horses are just awesome. Transportation, work on farms, just big, happy, expensive pets. Of course, horses have eyes on the side of their head for a reason, so they can spot predators quickly and easily. So they have 2 blind spots directly behind them and directly in front of them, which is why you always want a horse to know when you're standing in their blind spot. They get a little nervous about that. Of course, horses can sleep lying down or standing up. If a horse is sleeping lying down, that means it's completely safe and feels completely at ease. Usually horses in the wild, one horse will stay awake and stand up while the others can sleep lying down, so they can keep an eye out for predators. Of course, horses can only breathe through their nose. They generate a lot of saliva, 10 gallons of saliva. Horses, that's amazing. How many horses are there, by the way? They think about 60 million, give or take a couple. Nobody bothered to count. I wish I still had horses, although I will admit they are a little pricey. but they were so great to have. I love Horses Day. It's the bottom of the hour. Today in history, somebody had to be last, and by golly, it was Georgia. Georgia becomes the last of the former Confederate states to be readmitted to the Union in 1870. The problem is that they absolutely refused to ratify the 15th Amendment to the Constitution. That was part of the deal. You have to ratify the 15th Amendment or you can't get back into the Union. The 15th Amendment is the right to vote regardless of race. They didn't like that, so the state legislature kept defeating the ratification of the 15th Amendment, so to hell with it. Congress said, we'll just come back in and take it all over again. Military rule was reimposed. The General Assembly of Georgia was purged of all ex-Confederates. Everybody who lost the election took their place, and then Georgia ratified the 15th Amendment. Military rule came to an end, and they were finally readmitted to the Union 5 years after the end of the Civil War. Welcome back, Georgia. Happy birthday, Boeing. Boeing? In Seattle, Washington, on this date in 1916, William Boeing and George Conrad Westervelt incorporate the Pacific Aero Products Incorporated, renamed Boeing. What happened to George Conrad Westervelt? He was in the Navy. He was stationed in Seattle, and not long after they founded the company, just a couple of months later, the Navy transferred him to Philadelphia. So he had to get rid of all of his stock. He missed out on a whole ton of money. Boeing is the largest exporter in the United States by dollar value. In fact, it's not even close. In 2018, 6 years ago, Boeing net income, $10.4 billion. That's net income in 2018. Last year, Boeing lost $2.24 billion. This is the 25th anniversary of Safeco Field, or now T-Mobile Park. For the first time in franchise history, the Mariners play a home game outdoors. The grand opening of the $517 million at the time Safeco Field. And if you forgot what it was like 25 years ago today, take a look.
The fans that have shown up here at Safeco Field, and who else to throw out the first pitch at Safeco Field? A guy that has been here since the very, very beginning, has seen more games than anyone else in the Northwest. And of course, it's my partner, Dave Niehaus. And Dave, I tell you what, congratulations, partner, because that's quite an honor. And I think it had you pretty well tied up.
It did. It did.
When did you know that you were going to throw out the first pitch?
When Chuck Armstrong handed me the ball, and look at Speaker Foley. You know, if he had better hands, he should have caught it.
Outdoor baseball in Seattle is 25 years old, at least the Mariners. And happy 18th birthday to X, or Twitter. Everybody who I know still calls it Twitter. It's 18 years old today. The top 10 Twitter accounts with the most followers. The top 10 Twitter accounts with the most followers. Number 10, Lady Gaga. Number 9, Donald Trump. Number 8, Taylor Swift. Number 7, Narendra Modi. He is the Prime Minister of India. Number 6 is Katy Perry. Number 5, Rihanna. Number 4, Justin Bieber. Number 3, Cristiano Ronaldo, the great soccer player. Number 2, Barack Obama. And the number 1 Twitter account, or X, with the most followers, the guy who owns the damn company, Elon Musk. X/Twitter is 18 years old today. Happy heavenly birthday to Rembrandt. Rembrandt's favorite topic to paint was himself. A bit narcissistic. He painted more self-portraits than anybody I can think of, but he did a lot of other things as well. You know you done good if you just get remembered by one name, Rembrandt. There you go, born in the state in 1606. Alex Karras, the football player and then the actor. Of course, he was an All-American at Iowa, and then with the Detroit Lions. He played Mongo in Blazing Saddles and Webster. Alex Karras, born in the state in 1935. Alex is in NFL heaven. Linda Ronstadt, 78 years old today, the best-selling female singer of the 1970s. Of course, she has Parkinson's disease. She can no longer sing, but we love her anyway. And if you don't have the album Heart Like a Wheel, buy 2 copies in case you break one. And I bet you thought I was going to forget this guy's birthday. The great Japanese sumo wrestler, Hokutofu Fuji Daki. Hoku Fokututu Dada. That guy is 32 years old today. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor. That would be Alpine Air. You know, my air conditioner has not stopped running for 10 days. It's not really supposed to do that. I think I need to turn it off and give it a little bit of a break. But if my air conditioner breaks down, I got one call to make, and that's to Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. Go with the pros. And speaking to the professionals, our friends at Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. Mike McNaughty has got an opinion, because Mike McNaughty has an opinion. And then we have a brand new coach for the Wenatchee Wild. His name is Dan Knockbauer. He visited with Eric Grandstrom, and we're going to have that for you when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Lifeline Ambulance has partnered with Wenatchee Valley Tech to provide EMT certification training within the high school. This opens up career opportunities in EMS, fire, and other medical fields, and gives these students a leg up when entering the workforce.
Students at Wenatchee Valley Tech, through our partnership with Lifeline Ambulance, can now earn their National Registry EMT certification.
It's the NCW Life Community Calendar, brought to you by the Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center. Pick up your fresh, locally grown produce at the Wenatchee Valley Farmers Market every Saturday from 8 to 1. Apricots, cherries, asparagus, green beans, broccoli, raspberries, strawberries, kale, peas, beets, and starter plants. Plus original arts and crafts, soaps, candles, plants, and goodies to snack on. Meet and support local farmers, local growers, artisans, and craft makers at the Pybus Public Market.
When you need to relax and recharge your body and mind, retreat to the comfort of stressless furniture at Boswell's. Designed to harmonize with the natural movements of your body, it's where true comfort begins and every day should end. Get a $100 instant rebate for every $1,000 spent and $200 off 4 dining chairs at Boswell's, 2915 Easy Street in Wenatchee.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, located in East Wenatchee, offers terrific views and challenging play for golfers at every skill level. From the golf course to the grill, you don't need to be a member to dine in style and play golf too. Highlander's well-groomed fairways and greens keep it difficult, yet friendly for your regular rounds of golf or a new destination for you and your out-of-town friends. Contact the Highlander Pro Shop today to schedule your tee time, outing, or tournament. Open 7 days a week, where everyone is welcome to play and eat.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, there's a trending hypothetical question for women. If you were alone in the woods, would you rather encounter a bear or a man who was a stranger? Evidently, many women have answered a bear. Now, this response is apparently a real surprise to many of us of the male gender, and also some men have taken offense to this response. Well, guys, let's face it. We have to ask ourselves, if women are saying they'd rather encounter a bear than a stranger man, why would women answer this way? This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
A ductless unit from Carrier can keep anyone comfortable. Take Shelly, for instance. She finds me time in her new attic-turned-home gym. And with her Carrier ductless unit, the temperature is always perfect. No matter how intense her workout gets. Carrier. Total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether, we provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Local cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
Downtown Wenatchee, something for everyone.
Collins Fashions has what you need for all your summer activities. Cool sundresses, special occasion dresses, capris, sport, shorts, tanks, tees, sandals, and tinnies. Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Welcome to Henry Harrow, purveyors of modern-day provisions. Stop in, meet the team, and shop their curated collections of home, kitchen, and bath goods. Downtown Wenatchee, it's all here. Well, the NCW Life Channel is proud to introduce you to the new head man for the Wenatchee Wild. We've got Don, I want to make sure I get the right name, Nachbauer. Is that right, Don?
That's pretty good. You're got a little bit of Austrian in you. That's awesome.
Don is the new head coach for the Wenatchee Wild, taking over the team as they approach their second season in the Western Hockey League. This guy, very familiar with the Western Hockey League. Don, kind of give us a little thumbnail of your background. Spokane, Seattle, Tri-City, a little bit of everywhere in the WHL, right?
Yeah, it depends how long your show is, because it's going to be a long bio. So I'm a lot like the players. I started off in the Western Hockey League, left home when I was a young guy, ended up with the Calgary Centennials. They moved the team to Billings, Montana, and we only had 2-3 teams in the Western League that were U.S. based. One was Seattle, the other was Portland, and then Billings came in to make it the third team. Back in those days, there was only 12 teams. I was lucky. I got drafted in the third round, 60th overall by the Hartford Whalers. And I started my pro career. I played pro 15 years. I started in Hartford, as I just mentioned. Spent 3-4 years there. Was traded to the Edmonton Oilers. Spent a year with the Oilers. And then I signed with the Philadelphia Flyers. After that, I was there in Philly for 7-8 years. I went and played 4 years in Europe. And then I got right into my coaching career. And my coaching career landed right in Seattle. Right after I finished playing, I got a job. I was actually pretty lucky. But I did have a little bit of a background in coaching. I had started off when I was in Europe, coming back, and was an assistant in the American League at the end of our season, which finished early in Europe. I got 3-4 months as an assistant each year in the American League. The Seattle Thunderbirds hired me in '94. I left Seattle in 2000, went to the Philadelphia Phantoms. Spent 3 years there, and then came back to Tri-Cities, was the head coach there till 2009. So I believe it was 6-7 years I was in Tri. And then I went back to the American League for a cup of tea, came back to the Spokane Chiefs for 8 years. And last 5 years I've been up in the pros. I went from Spokane to the LA Kings as assistant. Tried a year in Slovakia. And the following year I went to the Swiss National League, which is their top pro leagues over there, but the Swiss National League is a top-end league. And then I was offered a job with the Calgary Flames to work with their younger guys on their farm club, and I enjoyed that role. But it's good to be back as a head coach coming into Wenatchee, especially after spending the last 3 years, in the American Hockey League.
We're going to talk a lot about your coaching coming up, but I was looking at your timeline there, and Edmonton for a season, and it looks like you would have been there at the same time the great Gretzky was there. Is that true?
That's very true. He was there. And as a matter of fact, the year I was in Edmonton, the team lost to the New York Islanders 4 straight. The following year, I went to Edmonton's training camp. I was picked up on waivers by the LA Kings. And then Edmonton went on a 4-year run of winning Stanley Cup. So they got me out of there, and they just started to win. and now that you mentioned Gretz, just so you know, my first year in Hartford, 79-80 season, Gordie Howe was on the team. And my idol as a kid, Dave Keon, who's still a friend today, but rooming with Dave was quite memorable and quite pleasurable. And to be honest with you, he's still a friend today. So it made my hockey career.
Now, I want to get the pronunciation of your hometown. It says you grew up in, is it Kitimat, BC?
No, I was born in Kitimat.
Okay.
All my minor hockey or youth hockey, I played in Prince George.
Oh,
so
okay.
My dad was in construction, so we moved to where the jobs were. We ended up as a young guy in Prince George, but I wasn't Kitimat long, and I never played any hockey there. So I consider I was born there, but my hometown would be Prince George for me.
So one of the first things you do as a Canadian is strap skates to your feet and go throw the puck around?
Well, that's a good question. You know, what else is there to do when it's 30, 40 below outside? All the schools in Prince George had outdoor rinks. There was, for me, we had 2 indoor rinks. Up in Prince George, you got 8, 9, 10 indoor rinks now, and they've got the multiplex where the Cougars play now. They've hosted the Canada Winter Games. They have another rink, so they've got multiple arenas up there to develop players. But for me, we had 2 indoor rinks. We had 50 outdoor rinks. I could literally walk 100 yards from my house, and what I did was I put on my skates, skated on the frozen roads, and then climbed down a hill and got on the rink, and then walked home with my skates, skated on the road up to my house, and ate dinner. But I was out there every day with all my friends, and that's what we did. We played a lot of shinny, but we had really good skill development doing it.
Being in a hockey country like that and then moving eventually to the Tri-Cities where you are talking with us right now, and your son's progress to be able to come up and play some hockey. In fact, played with the Wenatchee Wild back in, 2015, I think it was. A little different on finding a kid on the radar, isn't it, between your upbringing and your son's upbringing?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. When I left Philadelphia, my son was playing at a private rink called the Hollydale Hurricanes. And on his mite and squirt teams, 5 of the kids went on to be pros. They ran a really good program, but I always credit that to the quality of coaching you get and the quality of kids you get to play with. And he played with a lot of good kids there, and he had really good coaches. We came to Tri-Cities, and this isn't a knock on the youth hockey here, but it was just getting going. So they were lacking some high-end coaches. The guys did a great job, put a lot of effort into it. But to be a hockey player in those days, you had to go to other places. He ended up going to Spokane and playing Bantam there. And my son went up to Notre Dame in Saskatchewan for a year, and followed by the Edge School in Calgary, and then ended up going down to Arizona for a year, and before he arrived in Wenatchee for his U18 year. So the path for a hockey player is you got to get coaching, and you got to play with good players, and you got to follow those paths, which means for a lot of hockey players, they've got to leave at a young age, and my son was no different. To watch him walk out the door at 14, that was very difficult as a parent. And to have other people raise him, like those prep schools. In the Edge, he had great billets where he lived, and they took real good care of him. At Notre Dame, he was in a boarding school, so he was in a different environment with 20, 30 kids living in a house with one house parent, and so that was different. But he's got some good memories, and that's all water under the bridge, and turned out to be a really good person.
Let's talk about his playing under Bliss Littler, who now is basically your boss. Did you know Bliss before your son Daniel came to play at the Wenatchee Wild?
I believe I did, and I met Bliss through coaching seminars. I even joined Bliss. He invited me to one of his hockey camps down in Vegas, and I did those camps for a couple of years before Dan ever played for him. So Bliss and I did have a relationship through the coaching world, and we had a lot of the same philosophies. We actually did our HP1, which is our high performance certification in Canada through Hockey Canada. So I met him there, and but we've run into each other at seminars before, and we've done a lot of camps. When I was coaching with the LA Kings, he invited me over to help select a couple of his Wenatchee Wild teams. So I was a guest coach, just sitting in the stands. I believe one camp I went on the ice a couple times. But for the most part, I was just sitting up in the stands observing and giving input on players, and he allowed me to do that. But, you know, we've had a friendship for quite a few years now, and over that course of time, we've spoken about hockey a lot. So he knew that there was a really unique correlation between the way we both think the game. So it was a good fit when I sat down and interviewed for the job.
You have been coaching in the AHL and very successfully, by the way. You've come to Wenatchee out of the Calgary Flames organization. Were you aware of the transfer from Winnipeg to Wenatchee and Wenatchee's entrance in the WHL, or was that kind of news to you, kind of outside of your purview?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Within our coaches' room, and this is every place I've been in pro, whether it was the LA Kings, whether it was the Binghamton Senators, or whether it was the Calgary Flames or Wranglers, there's coaches in those in that coaching room that are from different leagues. So when I was in LA, we had a guy that was from the Quebec League, and we also had two Western League guys and a guy from the Ontario League, and we'd always go back and forth which was the best league. And while I was in Calgary, we had 2 guys from the OHL and 2 guys from the Western League, and we go back and forth. But we'd always check the standings, we'd always check the scores, and we're just hockey guys. We're interested in what's going on in other leagues, so we kept tabs on it. I knew about the Wenatchee sale last summer. I was well aware of what was going on there, and just the process of being an expansion team and trying to coming into the Western League, especially coming out of the BC Junior, because the leagues run a lot different. So it was all interesting, and Bliss did a great job of the transition from the BC Junior to a Western League team. He had a lot to learn. He's done a great job.
Well, let's talk about that transfer of the franchise from Winnipeg to Wenatchee. Of course, came loaded with a bunch of talent. They had to make the decision, though, because they had no draft picks coming up. So they unloaded a lot of that talent to get draft picks. I'm sure you've, at this point, had a chance to look at the draft here from a couple of months ago and looking at your roster coming in. And guys, you're going to try to fit in on this team as it enters its second year of the Western Hockey League. What do you think?
Well, you're dead on about the draft picks. The Winnipeg team was a high-end team, and you saw some of those players coming to Wenatchee before they were traded to acquire assets. But those players were on a good team last year that had a chance, or their management thought that they had a chance to win the league and go to the Memorial Cup. So they sold a lot of their assets, meaning their draft picks and young players, which really hurt our franchise now because we have to recoup those assets somehow. And when you don't have picks, you've got to go out and find free agents. And usually the cupboards get picked through pretty good. In my experience in the Western Hockey League, I've had a lot of walk-ons that turned out to be great players. There's a lot of gems out there that go through the draft, and they draft players, as you know, at 14, 15 years old. And it's very difficult to project what they're going to look like when they're 18, 19. So you're drafting smaller players, and a lot of the smaller players get overlooked. And they turned out to be some of my best players. The second group of guys you can look at are players in the U.S., because the Canadian guys are all drafted. Not the U.S. guys aren't, but they're not heavily scouted like the Bantam leagues in British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. So we've got a big job ahead of us finding more talent for our younger age groups, and that's what we get paid to do. But our current team, I haven't seen players, and I don't want to prejudge them until I watch them live on the ice and see what their habits are and how they think the game. And through drills and through scrimmages, I'll get a pretty good feel. And once we see that, we'll determine what style of play, what our structure will look like. And I'd like to say we'd be run and gun, but if we don't have guys that can skate, pass a puck, or shoot a puck, that's not going to be conducive to a good system for our hockey team. So I'm going to, have an open mind to what we have, and guys are going to get opportunities to play in different roles. And once we get through that initial phase of training camp exhibition games, we'll be hitting the ground running for the opening of the season.
Well, you're inheriting a couple of coaches as well. Chris Clark's been with the Wild since the Wild started here in the Wenatchee Valley. Lee Mendelson as well, who's director of scouting. So you have them already here, but you're also bringing a young guy with you. Heck, I looked at his photo and I went, is he still playing?
You'd like to hear that. Well, DJ, let's first talk about Clarkie and Lee, because they're going to be huge assets for me. They know most of the players. So they're going to be a resounding board for me, telling me what they know about the players. So it's invaluable. Their help's going to be really needed. Both guys are really good with the kids. I know that. I've known both those guys in the past, and I've worked camps with both of them. So there's a real comfort level with those two. DJ, on the other hand, has got 2 years experience with the Brandon Wheat running their D. He was hired by Calgary to come in and run the video, and that's all he did. He worked with video, but he was excellent with the young guys, bringing them in, showing them video. He's excellent at marketing and coding the game, so he's going to be a huge time consumer for me, saving me time with areas of the game. But I've got a real trust level with him because I've watched him work for the past 2 years. He's a good coach. He relates real well to the players, and he's got a lot of passion for the game. And he's excited about coming to Wenatchee, I can tell you that.
Well, we're excited to have you, Coach. I'll let you go now, but when you come up before training camp, we'll maybe try to get you out on the golf course and get you assimilated here to the Wenatchee Valley a little bit more than maybe when you were here visiting when your son was playing with the Wild. Congratulations on getting the job, and we are certainly looking forward to another Wild season here in 24-25.
I'm looking forward to being in Wenatchee, living there, being in the community, and looking forward to being behind the bench. Excited about the whole process. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. There you go, Don Nachbauer, who's the new head coach of your Wenatchee Wild.
Enjoy the sounds of summer from your very own pool and spa. Blue Lagoon is now scheduling pool installations for this summer. Call today to schedule a free consultation for a custom San Juan fiberglass pool. And let the experts at Blue Lagoon handle the construction, installation, and regular maintenance. Turn your boring backyard into vacation paradise this summer with industry-leading San Juan pool. No need to go off the deep end. Relax knowing you're in great hands with Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa.
Check out ClubProCashmere.com for upcoming events and tickets.
All right, before we get to the forecast, a quick look at the AQI scale because things have gotten worse, especially up in Brewster. Brewster, you're now 103 on the AQI scale, and that has slid your air quality right into the unhealthy for sensitive groups, and it's going to be hot. By the way, Cashmere's at 90, Chelan, I should say, is at 99, almost unhealthy for sensitive groups, so there is some dirty air to the north of us, folks, because of the Pioneer fire. A lot of people are heading to Lake Chelan because it's going to be 100 degrees, and these are some of the high temperature forecast for the rest of this week. We've had very hot weather. Now, I know it's July, and it's the middle of July, and we're supposed to have very hot weather, but geez, it's getting a little out of control. And on top of all that, we could see a dry thunderstorm on Wednesday. There's going to see a little bit of a short wave coming through. It's going to slide through Tuesday night, could lead to some dry thunderstorms. Now, confidence, and the National Weather Service is being very straight up about this, they're not real confident this is going to happen, but they say we're going to keep an eye on things and see what may happen basically by Tuesday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. We'll have a pretty good idea if we need to worry about dry thunderstorms on Wednesday. That's about the last thing we need. Thunderstorms without rain, not good. From the National Weather Service, 99 today with some residual haze. There's still an air quality alert from the Department of Ecology, but it's not too bad air quality wise. 68 for the overnight low tonight, 102 Tuesday. Again, the slightest chance of a dry thunderstorm late in the afternoon on Wednesday. Keep your fingers crossed there. A high of 103. Then we cool down to just 101 and 101, then back up to 104, and then 102. It is hot. No other way around it. That's it for us. Have a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.